I am about to address some things as the supervisor. There will be no comments, there will be anything, it'll just be me addressing you guys to tell you what's going on.
Is there a motion to terminate Keith Freeman?
Get ready for a wild ride, because the drama surrounding Tiffany Henyard has just reached a boiling point. Insiders are buzzing that an arrest warrant for the controversial mayor of Dolton, Illinois, could be issued any day now. That's right. Tiffany Henyard, who has dubbed herself the super mayor, is reportedly on the verge of facing serious legal trouble. If you thought the situation couldn't get any more chaotic for the so-called Dolton dictator, think again. This could be the beginning of the end for her and her entire inner circle. Buckle up.
Fox 32 has investigated Henyard's use of a police security detail, taking officers off the street and costing thousands of dollars in overtime.
Let's dive into what we know, or at least what the rumors are suggesting. According to multiple sources who are buzzing right now, the FBI has quietly been building a case against Tiffany Henyard and her team for quite some time. Word on the street is that they've been gathering evidence behind the scenes, just waiting for the right moment to strike, and that moment might be now. So what exactly is Henyard facing? Well, where to begin? Henyard, who's been at the center of controversy for months, if not years, has been accused of a laundry list of crimes. We're talking about the misuse of taxpayer money, extravagant spending, first-class travel, lavish parties, and much more. The FBI is said to be investigating everything from her handling of village finances to her personal spending habits, with allegations that she's been treating taxpayer funds like her own personal piggy bank. If the rumors hold true, Henyard could be staring down some serious jail time.
Debt, and that is the finding of an investigation of village finances and the spending habits of beleaguered Mayor Tiffany Henyard.
But it's not just Henyard who's in hot water. Her entire entourage is reportedly about to go down with her. The FBI has been tracking their every move, waiting for the perfect moment to strike, and from what we're hearing, it sounds like they're planning to make a big splash by arresting Henyard and several of her closest allies all at once. Talk about a plot twist. Let's rewind a bit though. Tiffany Henyard's troubles didn't just start overnight. She's been walking a fine line for years, and now it's all coming crashing down. Not too long ago, she hosted an extravagant $85,000 party that had the whole town buzzing. She flew in R&B singer Keek Wyatt and rapper Jay Holiday for a performance that barely anyone showed up to. That's exactly the kind of behavior that put her on the FBI's radar in the first place.
Coming in, unfortunately, we knew it was going to be a little messy, but it's just something we felt important that had to be done, that should be done. So, but like I said, just some accountability.
And this wasn't just some casual backyard barbecue. Henyard's team spent tens of thousands of taxpayer dollars on what turned out to be a mini concert that many are calling a complete flop. Former Dolton trustee Valeria Stubbs, who was there to witness the fiasco, didn't mince words. "That was a flop," she said bluntly, and she's far from the only one who's outraged.
I think you should pay everybody. Is there a reason why you guys are not paying whatever that vendor is?
What was it for?
It was for shirts. That's what it's for. You do that.
Residents are furious, outraged that their hard-earned money is being spent recklessly. Lansing resident Jennifer Roberts summed it up perfectly. "I was flabbergasted. I was pissed off. That's my money. That's the people's money." And she's not wrong. Locals are watching their taxpayer dollars vanish while the village sinks deeper into debt. Speaking of debt, Henyard's financial troubles have only worsened. Trustees have been sounding the alarm about the village's financial situation, and according to a report by former Chicago Mayor Lori Lightfoot, Dolton's general fund had a balance of over $5 million in 2022. Fast forward to 2024, and that same fund has plummeted to a deficit of more than $3 million. So where did all that money go?
Hey guys, it's the Super Mayor Tiffany Henyard, the People's Mayor and People's Supervisor.
Well, that's the million-dollar question, or perhaps the missing million-dollar question. It's not just the lavish parties and first-class travel that are raising eyebrows. Henyard's handling of village employees and contracts has sparked even more controversy. Take Keith Freeman, for instance, the village administrator and one of Henyard's closest allies, who's been linked to all kinds of questionable activities. Freeman, who was charged with bankruptcy fraud earlier this year, has reportedly been working hand-in-hand with Henyard to cover up her financial misdeeds.
Police is absolutely not guilty of all 9 counts. I believe he's cooperating.
And if you cooperate, you have to admit your guilt first.
But here's where things get really interesting. Freeman has allegedly flipped. Sources say Freeman is now cooperating with the FBI, feeding them information in hopes of getting a lighter sentence. Could this be the final nail in Henyard's coffin? As, if that weren't enough, Henyard's deputy police chief, Lysis Lacey, is also in serious trouble. Lacey, another of Henyard's loyal allies, was recently indicted on charges of bankruptcy fraud. And if that's not bad enough, he's accused of collecting over $200,000 in overtime pay he wasn't even eligible for. If that doesn't scream corruption, we don't know what does. Lacey's indictment is just one more piece in this tangled web of deceit and greed that Henyard and her team have spun. So, what's next for Tiffany Henyard? With the FBI closing in and her allies turning on her one by one, the future looks grim. Legal experts are already speculating about the charges she could face, and the outlook is far from pretty.
One way that the government always does it is to go and investigate people around her, and that's what they're doing here.
With allegations of fraud, misuse of public funds, and corruption looming over her, Henyard could be looking at some serious jail time if convicted. Depending on the charges, she could be facing anywhere from a few years to over a decade behind bars. And with the weight of a federal investigation bearing down on her, it's hard to see how she could walk away unscathed. Meanwhile, the people of Dolton are watching all of this unfold with a mix of anger, frustration, and disbelief. How did things get this bad? How did someone like Henyard even make it into office? If you ask some of the town's residents, they've been asking those same questions for years.
Very appreciative to receive the information today. We have the best mayor ever. I've been here since 19.
In fact, one comment left on a YouTube video about the situation sums up what many are thinking. When someone has a criminal conviction of any kind, they should never ever be allowed to run for public office. It's just nuts to me. And honestly, can you blame them? Another commenter chimed in with this gem. Do they not do background checks? That town is run like a circus. Ouch. But again, they're not wrong. It's hard to understand how someone with such a checkered past could rise to a position of power without raising any red flags. And now the entire village is paying the price for it. Henyard, for her part, doesn't seem to be backing down. Despite everything happening around her, she's still out here acting like nothing's wrong.
Legal appointment. That's what the trustees I talked to are calling this. They say the news took them by surprise, and now they're talking to legal counsel to figure out their next steps.
Recently, Henyard was spotted at yet another village event, smiling for the cameras and boasting about all she's done for the community. In one of her infamous social media posts, she even referred to herself in the third person, saying, "They don't show you this side of Tiffany Henyard, the productivity." But productivity isn't exactly the word most people would use to describe her time in office. The problem is, Henyard's attempts to downplay the situation aren't fooling anyone. People see through the charade, and they're growing more fed up by the day. Even some of her closest allies have started to turn on her. One of the most notable defections came from Township Trustee Carmen Carlisle, who was once a staunch supporter of Henyard. At a recent meeting, Carlisle couldn't hide her frustration any longer. "I trusted this administration," she said, "but the moment I didn't trust the process, I started asking questions." Carlisle's shift is a clear sign that Henyard's grip on power is slipping. It's not just the residents who are fed up, it's the people who once stood by her. And with rumors swirling that more of her allies could soon be arrested, it's becoming increasingly clear that Henyard is running out of options.
We get invoices, but those invoices lead to more questions, and sometimes we don't get answers to those questions. And so it's not about clickbait, it's about just making sure the right thing is being done.
Of course, it's not just her allies who are abandoning ship. The village trustees have been fighting tooth and nail to rein in Henyard's spending and bring some accountability to the local government. They've instituted layoffs, cut budgets, and are even working on crafting their own financial plan to get the village back on track. But it's an uphill battle, especially with Henyard still calling the shots and vetoing every effort to investigate her wrongdoing. What's even more shocking is that, according to insiders, the trustees aren't just battling Henyard in boardrooms, they're also facing alleged intimidation tactics from her allies within the police department. Several sources have suggested that Henyard may have leveraged her connections with certain high-ranking officers to exert pressure on those questioning her authority. This, combined with her unchecked spending and refusal to provide financial documents, has made it nearly impossible for the trustees to do their jobs effectively. It's as if Henyard is determined to cling to power by any means necessary, no matter how reckless her actions become. The big question now is, how long can she hold out? Can Tiffany Henyard really keep fighting against the inevitable? Let's be real, the FBI doesn't mess around. They've got the receipts, the witnesses, and the evidence. And while Henyard may be trying to maintain appearances, it's only a matter of time before the walls start closing in.
Here, Henyard is in a situation where she feels like she's under attack, because she is.
So what happens next? Well, that's the million-dollar question, isn't it? With rumors swirling about an impending arrest, it feels like we're witnessing the final act of this drama unfold in real time. Will Henyard finally be held accountable for her actions? Will her allies continue to turn on her in a last-ditch effort to save themselves? And what will become of the village of Dolton, which has been left in shambles by years of corruption and mismanagement? One thing's for sure, this story is far from over. The next few days and weeks will be crucial for Tiffany Henyard, her allies, and the town of Dolton. You can bet that everyone will be watching closely to see what happens next. So what do you think? Is this the end of the road for Tiffany Henyard, or does she still have a few tricks up her sleeve? Will the FBI finally bring her to justice, or will she somehow manage to slip through the cracks once again? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. You won't want to miss what's coming next.